Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins Collections, that turns pocket change into hidden treasure. If you've ever looked at a plain old penny and thought, this can't be worth much, today's video might just change your mind forever. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the 1960 Lincoln cent. That's right, just a humble 1-cent coin. But trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be checking every penny you own, because this little copper coin could be worth a life-changing amount of money. Now, you might be wondering, what makes a 1960 penny so special? It's not made of gold or silver. It doesn't sparkle with diamonds. So why are collectors and coin hunters going wild for it? Let's take a step back in time to understand why. The 1960 Lincoln penny was minted during a period of transition for the United States Mint. That year, two different designs of the penny were released, one with a smaller date and one with a larger date. To the untrained eye, they might look identical. But for collectors? This is where the magic begins. You see, 1960 was a year of experimentation, and that led to some incredibly rare and unexpected minting errors. These errors are what truly send the value of these coins skyrocketing. One of the most famous and desirable versions is the 1960 small date penny minted in Philadelphia. It's rarer than its large date counterpart, and spotting the difference requires a sharp eye. But here's the kicker, some of these small date pennies were struck over large date dies, creating what's called a small over large date variety. That's right, one number stamped right over another. And that, my friends, is where things get exciting, because minting errors like that don't just make a coin unique, they make it valuable. Very valuable. Collectors love these kinds of anomalies. They tell a story. They capture a moment in minting history when something didn't go as planned, and somehow that mistake made the coin even more special. These coins weren't meant to exist in this form, and that makes them all the more desirable. But wait, there's more. Condition is everything in the coin world. A regular circulated 1960 penny? It's worth 1 cent. Maybe a bit more if it's in decent shape. But if you find one of these rare varieties in mint state condition, no scratches, full detail, sharp lines, and original luster, you've got something that collectors will fight to get their hands on. And here's where it gets truly unbelievable. Some 1960 Lincoln pennies, especially the small date variety with rare minting errors, have sold at professional auctions for a sum that will make your jaw drop. We're not talking about $100. Not $1,000. Not even $10,000. A pristine, rare, error 1960 Lincoln penny has fetched as much as $55,000. That's right. $55,000. For a single cent. So now, you've got to ask yourself, have you checked your coin jar lately? Do you have a 1960 penny lying around in an old drawer? Maybe one tucked away in a forgotten coin collection? If so, take a closer look. It might just be the ticket to an incredible discovery, and for all the coin collectors watching, this is what makes the hobby so thrilling. The chase. The history. The hidden stories locked into tiny pieces of metal that most people never even notice. So the next time someone tells you a penny isn't worth anything, just smile. Because now you know better. Today, we're talking about a tiny piece of copper that could hold an incredible secret. A coin that most people wouldn't even glance at, but those who know? They know this isn't just a penny, it could be a potential goldmine hiding in your change jar. That's right. We're diving into the fascinating story of the 1961 Lincoln penny from the United States of America. 1 cent. A coin so common it probably passed through your hands without a second thought. But what if I told you that there's a version of this penny that collectors are desperately searching for, and if you happen to find it, you might just hit the jackpot? So, what makes the 1961 penny stand out in the world of coin collecting? Let's start with the basics. The 1961 Lincoln cent was minted at a time when the United States was booming post-World War II, with an economy on the rise and a population fascinated by space, science, and yes, saving coins. Made primarily of copper, this penny features the iconic bust of Abraham Lincoln on the front, a design that's been in place since 1909. On the reverse, the familiar Lincoln Memorial design that dominated American pennies for decades. Now, here's where things start to get interesting. You see, not all 1961 pennies are created equal. While hundreds of millions were produced, the real value lies in the details. And in the coin world, details mean everything. Some 1961 pennies were struck with a special kind of mistake, minting errors that only appear once in a great while. And these aren't the kind of errors that ruin a coin's value. In fact, they're the kind that makes collectors go crazy with excitement. One of the most famous errors from 1961 is the double die obverse. That means the coin's front side, featuring Lincoln's portrait and the word Liberty, was accidentally struck twice by the minting die, just slightly misaligned. This creates a beautiful and eerie doubling effect, especially visible on the date and lettering. It's not just eye-catching, it's extremely valuable, and there's more. Some coins from 1961 were struck on the wrong metal planchets. These are the blank discs used to create coins. Instead of copper, some rare error versions may have been struck on a silver dime planchet or even foreign coin blanks, making them lighter or a different color entirely. These mistakes make the coin incredibly unique and, you guessed it, extremely desirable. But here's the thing, these rare error coins aren't easy to find. Most of them ended up in circulation, tossed into pockets, wallets, and piggy banks without anyone realizing what they truly were. Today, collectors spend years searching for just one in high-quality condition, and that brings us to the next point. Condition. Even if you have a 1961 penny with a known error, its value depends heavily on how well it's been preserved. Coins that are scratched, worn down, or discolored won't fetch nearly as much as those in pristine, mint-state condition. But if you happen to have one of these rare coins, with a bold minting error and in nearly perfect shape, well, now we're talking serious money. You might be wondering, how serious are we talking? Hold on to your seats. Because if you happen to have one of these rare, error-filled, mint-condition 1961 Lincoln pennies, you're not just holding onto a piece of copper. You could be holding onto something that's worth $53,000, yes, you heard that right. 1 cent, worth $53,000. That's the kind of discovery that turns everyday people into passionate collectors. That's why so many people are revisiting their coin collections, scouring old boxes, and looking through their spare change. Because one small detail, one minting error, can change everything. So whether you're a lifelong collector or just getting started, remember this, every coin has a story. And sometimes, the most ordinary-looking penny can carry an extraordinary value. Don't underestimate the change in your pocket. You never know what treasure might be hidden right in front of your eyes. Today, we're turning our spotlight on one of the most underestimated coins in U.S. history, the 1966 Lincoln penny. This is more than just 1 cent. This little copper coin could carry an incredible secret, and if you know what to look for, it could end up being one of the most valuable pieces in your entire collection. Now, at first glance, the 1966 penny looks like any other Lincoln cent. It's got Honest Abe on the front, just like it has since 1909. On the back, you'll see the Lincoln Memorial, a design that had been introduced just a few years earlier, in 1959. Millions of these pennies were minted, so what's the big deal? Why are collectors so obsessed with this specific year? To answer that, we need to dive into a bit of minting history. In the mid-1960s, the U.S. Mint was under a lot of pressure. Coin shortages were sweeping the country. People were hoarding coins left and right, especially silver coins, because of rising metal values. The Mint decided to take drastic steps. In 1965, 1966, and 1967, the Mint actually stopped putting mint marks on coins altogether to try to prevent hoarding and ease the panic. That's right, if you've got a 1966 penny and you're searching for a little D or S mint mark below the date, you won't find it. None were used. But what the Mint didn't count on were the rare and unexpected minting errors that would turn some of these coins into absolute collector gold. Let's talk about those errors, because they are the reason why some 1966 pennies are now considered highly valuable. One of the most sought-after types of errors in 1966 pennies is the double die. This happens when the coin is struck more than once by the die, but not perfectly aligned. The result? A doubling effect on the lettering, numbers, or even parts of Lincoln's profile. It's subtle, but once you know what to look for, it's unmistakable. And collectors go crazy for it. Then there are off-center strikes, where the coin wasn't perfectly lined up when it was struck, leaving a portion of the design missing or oddly placed. The more dramatic the misalignment, the rarer, and more valuable, the coin. There are also die breaks, clipped planchets, and strikes on the wrong metal, like pennies accidentally struck on dime blanks. All of these strange, beautiful mistakes add incredible value because they are so rare, and each one is unique. And here's what makes the 1966 penny even more exciting for collectors: not only are these errors rare, but most people have no idea they exist. That means the chances of finding one still out there, hiding in a collection or coin jar, are very real. Now let's talk about condition. If you're lucky enough to find a rare error coin from 1966, its value multiplies dramatically if it's in great condition. A coin that has been well preserved, no major scratches, no heavy wear, clear lines and details, is what collectors dream of. A mint-state 1966 penny with a dramatic error? That's the ultimate catch. Imagine holding a coin that people walk past every day, and knowing that yours is one of the rarest in existence. That's what makes collecting so thrilling. It's not just about money, it's about discovery, mystery, and history in the palm of your hand. And now, the part you've been waiting for. If you happen to have a 1966 Lincoln penny with a significant mint error, and it's in top-notch condition, the kind that collectors fight over at auction, you could be looking at a coin valued as high as $50,000. Yes, one single penny, worth $50,000. It sounds unbelievable, but that's the magic of coin collecting. It turns the ordinary into the extraordinary. It reminds us that sometimes, the smallest things in life hold the biggest surprises. So take a second look at those old coins. Dig through your jars, your drawers, your childhood coin collections. Because that 1 cent you forgot about? It might just be the key to your next big discovery. Today's video, you might never look at a penny the same way again, because today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1971 Lincoln penny, a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, but under the right circumstances, it could be hiding a shocking secret. A secret that turns this copper-colored coin into a treasure worth thousands of times its face value. Yes, the 1971 Lincoln penny could be worth much, much more than 1 cent, but only if you know what to look for. Let's set the stage. It's 1971 in the United States, gas is cheap, bell-bottoms are in, and pocket change is as common as air. Millions of Lincoln cents are pouring out of the U.S. Mint, just like they had for decades. The obverse of the coin, with Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile, is a design that's been trusted since 1909. The reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial, clean lines, tall columns, and a tiny statue of Lincoln right in the center. It all looks pretty standard. So what's so special about the 1971 version? Well, this is where things get very interesting, because not all 1971 pennies are the same. This year saw the minting of hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents at the Philadelphia and San Francisco mints. But among them, a very small number were struck with serious and stunning minting errors, and these rare mistakes are exactly what collectors are constantly hunting for. One of the most famous and valuable errors tied to the 1971 penny is known as the double die obverse. That means the coin's front, the side with Lincoln, was struck twice by the same die, but just slightly off alignment. This results in noticeable doubling on the inscriptions like "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and even the date itself. This isn't a tiny smudge. It's bold. It's clear. And it instantly transforms a plain coin into a piece of numismatic history. And here's the kicker: not everyone notices it. Many people have had these coins pass through their hands without a clue that they were holding something special. That's what makes these double die coins so exciting. They're not tucked away in museums or safes. They're still out there. In circulation. In coin jars. In attics. Maybe even in your home right now. But the double die isn't the only valuable error that showed up in 1971. There are also off-center strikes, where the coin is visibly misaligned and part of the design is missing. Some pennies were struck on dime blanks, smaller and silver in color, creating a freak hybrid of two coins. Others have die cracks, struck through debris, or even blockage errors, where parts of another coin's design appear imprinted on the surface. Each of these minting mistakes is like a fingerprint, unique, rare, and highly desirable for collectors who crave the strange and unusual, and of course, condition matters. If you have one of these rare error coins, and it's in uncirculated or mint state condition, with original luster and sharp detail, the value multiplies. These are the coins that send collectors to auctions and send bids soaring. Imagine walking around with a coin in your pocket that you think is worth 1 cent, only to find out it could buy you a car, a vacation, or even help pay for college. That's why collectors are obsessed with the 1971 penny. Because in the right form, it's not just currency, it's a hidden gem, a piece of American history, and a serious investment. So here it is, the moment you've been waiting for. If you happen to own a 1971 Lincoln penny with a rare minting error, especially a clear double die obverse, and it's in pristine condition, you could be looking at a coin worth as much as $46,000. That's right. 1 cent, turned into $46,000. And the best part? These coins weren't made for the rich. They weren't locked away or sold in fancy sets. They were made for everyday people. For pockets. For wallets. For lunch counters and soda machines. Which means your chances of finding one might be better than you think. So go check your change jars, your drawers, your old coin rolls. Look closely. Because sometimes, the most valuable things in life are right under our noses, and sometimes, they're worth a whole lot more than just 1 cent. Today we're exploring the secrets behind the 1980 Lincoln penny, and trust me, this is one story you'll never forget. Now, let's go back for a moment. The year is 1980. Ronald Reagan is about to take the White House. The economy is changing. Gas prices are climbing. And millions upon millions of Lincoln cents are being minted and spread across the country like confetti. To most people, they're nothing more than pocket change, used to buy candy, feed parking meters, or disappear into couch cushions forever. But buried among those countless pennies, a few slipped through with something different. Something unexpected. Something rare. Let's start with what the 1980 penny is supposed to be. On the front, you've got the familiar image of President Abraham Lincoln, with the words, "In God We Trust," arched above his head, "Liberty," to the left, and the date, 1980, just beside his shoulder. Flip it over, and you'll see the Lincoln Memorial, clean and crisp. Simple, right? But here's where things get fascinating. Some 1980 Lincoln cents were struck with minting errors, little mistakes that turn a regular coin into something collectors dream of finding. These aren't your average coins. These are the diamonds in the rough. And spotting them can mean the difference between 1 cent and a life-changing discovery. Point: one of the most valuable types of errors seen in 1980 pennies is the double die obverse. This happens when the die, the tool that stamps the design into the coin, strikes it more than once, but not quite in the same spot. The result? A ghostly doubling effect, especially visible on the word "Liberty," the date, and the motto, "In God We Trust." The doubling is crisp, noticeable, and absolutely thrilling to find. Then there's the off-center strike error. This is when the coin wasn't properly aligned during minting, and a portion of the design ends up missing or strangely placed. The more off-center it is, without losing too much of the design, the more desirable it becomes. Another type of error involves the coin being struck on the wrong planchet. Imagine a penny accidentally made on a dime's metal blank, resulting in a lighter weight and a silvery tone. These bizarre mix-ups are extremely rare, and every one of them is like striking gold in the coin world. And here's where it gets even more interesting: no one knows exactly how many of these rare error coins exist. That mystery is part of the magic. They weren't documented in detail when they happened. They slipped into circulation, unnoticed by banks, cashiers, and the average person. Which means they could be anywhere, in a drawer, a jar, or maybe even your own coin collection. Of course, like with any collectible, condition is everything. A 1980 error penny in worn condition is cool, but one in mint state, untouched, uncirculated, with all the shine and sharp detail, it's a collector's dream. That's the kind of coin that can fetch massive bids at auction. That's the kind of coin everyone's hoping to find. It's this thrill, the possibility that something so ordinary could be so extraordinary, that keeps coin lovers on the hunt. The 1980 penny might seem like just another copper coin, but the right one, with the right error, in the right condition, changes everything. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. If you happen to have a 1980 Lincoln penny with a rare minting error, such as a strong double die or an off-metal strike, and it's in exceptional, high-grade condition, that humble little coin could be worth as much as $40,000. That's right. 1 cent, transformed into 40,000. So the next time you get change at the store or open that old piggy bank, don't ignore the pennies. Look closer. You could be holding a piece of history, a rare collectible, or even a hidden fortune. The story of the 1981 penny isn't just about old money, it's about mystery, rare mistakes, and the thrill of discovering something extraordinary where you'd least expect it. Let's rewind to the year 1981. The music was loud, the hairstyles were big, and the Lincoln penny was everywhere. In fact, over 13 billion 1-cent coins were minted that year between the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. So how can a coin that was minted in such huge numbers possibly be rare? Great question. And the answer lies in one word: errors. You see, in the world of coin collecting, it's not just about age. It's about rarity. And sometimes, the most valuable coins aren't the oldest, they're the ones with flaws the US Mint never intended. Now, here's where the 1981 Lincoln penny gets really exciting. This was one of the last years that pennies were made with 95% copper. In 1982, the composition changed to a copper-coated zinc core, forever altering the feel and weight of the penny. But in 1981, that full copper composition was still in place, and this adds a layer of collectability. Coin collectors call this the end of an era, which already makes the 1981 penny worth paying attention to. But what makes it potentially valuable isn't just the metal, it's the mistakes. Let's talk about the double die obverse, one of the most desirable errors in the coin world. Some 1981 pennies were accidentally struck twice, ever so slightly off position, during the minting process. This caused clear doubling in the design, especially noticeable on the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the date. If you ever see the lettering on a penny looking shadowed or thicker than normal, look closer. You might be staring at a double die. Then there's the off-center strike, another error that makes these pennies so valuable. This occurs when the coin wasn't correctly aligned during minting. Part of the design ends up missing, creating a unique and highly collectible off-center coin. Some are only slightly off, but the most dramatic examples, where you can still read the date, are especially valuable. But that's not all. There are reports of wrong planchet errors too, pennies struck on blanks meant for other coins. Imagine a penny made on a dime-sized silver-colored blank. It looks totally out of place, and that's exactly what makes it special. These off-metal errors are extremely rare, but when they surface, collectors go wild. Of course, rarity is one thing, condition is another. Even a rare coin's value can change dramatically depending on its condition. A 1981 penny with an error is cool, but if it's scratched, worn, or damaged, its value drops fast. But if you find one of these rare error coins in uncirculated or mint state condition, bright, sharp, and pristine, you're talking serious money. Think about it, one small coin that most people ignore. Something you might have had in a drawer since the 80s. Something you thought was worth a penny, but could actually change your day, or your life. That's the excitement of coin collecting. You never know what you might have until you look a little closer. And the 1981 Lincoln penny is a perfect example of why collectors are always on the hunt. It's a piece of history. It's a copper time capsule. And in some rare cases, it's a jackpot hiding in plain sight. So now, the big question. Just how much could one of these rare 1981 pennies be worth? Well, if you're lucky enough to find a 1981 Lincoln penny with a dramatic mint error, like a bold double die or an off-metal strike, and it's in exceptional, mint state condition, that 1-cent coin could be worth as much as $38,000. Yes, you heard that right. One little penny, worth $38,000. So the next time you're handed a penny, don't just toss it into the tip jar or drop it in your car's cup holder. Take a second. Flip it over. Look at the details. Because you never know when you're holding something far more valuable than it seems. Today we're diving into one of the most fascinating and confusing coins ever produced by the United States Mint, the 1982 Lincoln penny. It may look like a common coin, the kind that jingles in your pocket or hides in your kitchen drawer. But what if I told you this 1-cent piece could be hiding a rare and valuable secret? One that could turn that everyday coin into a 5-figure treasure. You're going to want to stick around for this one, because the story of the 1982 penny is unlike any other. Let's rewind to the early 1980s. The US economy was changing, inflation was rising, and copper, yes, the metal used to make pennies, was becoming more and more expensive. In fact, by 1982, the cost of making a penny using 95% copper was dangerously close to exceeding the coin's actual value. So the US Mint made a big move. In the middle of 1982, the Mint changed the composition of the penny from solid copper to a cheaper metal, zinc, coated in a thin layer of copper. The switch wasn't done all at once, it happened gradually, which led to something totally unique in US coin history. Two different versions of the penny were produced in the same year. That's right. Some 1982 pennies are copper, and some are zinc. And to make things more complicated, both types were produced in several different styles: large date, small date, Philadelphia Mint, Denver Mint. You get the idea. In total, there are 7 major varieties of the 1982 Lincoln cent. It's one of the few years where knowing exactly which version you have can make a world of difference. Now here's where things get really exciting. Among all these 1982 pennies, some have errors, rare, accidental mistakes that make them incredibly valuable to collectors. And we're not talking about tiny scratches or dents. We're talking minting mistakes that are bold, unusual, and fascinating. Let's start with the holy grail of 1982 pennies, the 1982 D small date copper cent. This coin wasn't even supposed to exist. According to the Mint's official records, the Denver Mint was only supposed to make zinc small date coins in 1982. But somehow, by accident, a few small date copper cents slipped through. It took collectors years to notice. And when they did, they realized just how rare this mistake truly was. Finding a genuine 1982 D small date copper cent is like striking gold, literally, but that's not the only error that can make your 1982 penny worth big money. Other varieties include off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing due to misalignment during minting. Or double die errors, where the coin is struck twice, causing the text or image to look slightly doubled, a favorite among collectors. Some coins were even struck on the wrong planchet, meaning they were accidentally created using metal blanks intended for other coins. These kinds of errors are rare, strange, and in high demand, and let's not forget condition. A rare variety or error coin is exciting, but if it's in uncirculated or mint state condition, its value skyrockets. Sharp details, a strong strike, and that untouched, original luster can make all the difference. So if you have a 1982 penny that's both rare and in excellent shape, you could be holding something very special. What makes the 1982 penny so thrilling is that it doesn't scream valuable. It looks like any other cent. That's the mystery. That's the magic. The next time you sort through your change, you could be seconds away from discovering a coin worth thousands, and you wouldn't even know it until you looked closer. So, how much could a rare 1982 penny actually be worth, if you happen to have one of these extremely rare 1982 era coins, especially the elusive 1982 D small date copper cent, and it's in pristine condition? You could be looking at a value of up to $36,000, yes, 1 cent, worth $36,000. That's not just pocket change. That's a car. A college fund. A life-changing surprise that could be sitting in a jar on your nightstand right now. So take a moment. Dig through your old coin rolls. Look at those pennies you've been ignoring for years. Because hidden among them might be one of the rarest and most valuable coins of the modern era. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most mysterious pennies ever minted, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss another rare coin story. This is what makes coin collecting exciting, not just history, but the thrill of the unknown. Until next time, happy hunting, and don't underestimate the power of a penny.